Replacing an EV battery out of warranty costs $10,000 to $20,000, which is why a lot of drivers over 60 are still holding off. But that bill only exists if you buy the wrong car. And the car at number 1 is the one almost every reviewer told you not to buy. Counting down from 7. Let's get into it. Number 7. Chevrolet Bolt EUV 2022 to 2023. You can pick one up for around $19,000 to $24,000, and a lot of them are driving around on a battery pack Chevrolet replaced for free. Every Bolt built between 2017 and 2022 was recalled over battery fire risk, and GM fitted brand new packs at no charge. Here's the part that matters. Those replacement packs carry their own 8-year, 100,000-mile parts warranty, running from the day the pack went in rather than the day the car was built. So there are used Bolts at economy car money still protected into the 2030s. Not every car got one though. Some were closed out with software only, so check the paperwork. It's the first thing I look for, and most sellers don't know to mention it. The car suits this job almost by accident. It's short, so it parks anywhere and you can see where it ends. The seat is tall and upright, meeting you at chair height. The glass area is enormous, and visibility is one of the first things drivers lose confidence about. Physical climate buttons, a real gear selector. Nothing here asks you to learn a new language. Range is 247 miles, and one-pedal driving means most of your everyday driving happens without touching the brake. Premier trim could also be optioned with Super Cruise, hands-free driving on mapped highways, which takes real fatigue out of a long trip. It was a paid extra, not standard. So check the listing rather than assuming. Charging speed is the weak spot, and it disappears entirely if you plug in at home overnight. And if used car homework isn't your thing, Chevrolet brought the Bolt back. A new one landed in early 2026 from just under $29,000. 255 miles, a NACS port, and fast charging lifted from 50 kilowatts to 150. What catches people out is size. Start carrying grandchildren, a walker, or a week of groceries, and the Bolt runs out of room fast. So the next one gives you all the space you're missing, and it's the biggest price collapse on this list. Number 6. Volkswagen ID.4 2021 to 2026. It sold for nearly $45,000 new. Today it changes hands used around $20,000 to $23,000, and someone else already absorbed all of that. There's one model year I'd steer you away from, and I'll come to it. Everything else makes this one of the easiest EVs to live with as you get older. Start with the doors. They open wide and close to square, which decides backseat access far more than any legroom figure on a spec sheet. The floor is flat, so there's no center hump to swing a leg over. The hip point sits high enough that you sit down into the seat at chair height. The trunk is large with a low load lip, so a suitcase slides in instead of being lifted. And it's one of the quietest cars in its class, which means less fatigue on a long drive. Now those model years, the 2021 and 2022 cars used haptic sliders for volume and temperature, no click, no feedback, not even backlit at night. VW eventually reversed course and put physical buttons and a proper knob back in. If touch controls worry you at all, buy the newest one your budget reaches and sit in it before you commit. Battery coverage runs 8 years or 100,000 miles, and unlike some rivals here, it transfers in full to you as the second owner. Volkswagen ended US production in April 2026, so what's on the lots now is what's left, which is a large part of why the pricing is where it is. That one detail can swing what a used ID.4 is worth. And if you're actually shopping for a used EV, everything I check before buying is in the used EV buyer's guide, including battery health, the warranty rules, the full inspection checklist. Links in the description. Volkswagen built a sensible, spacious car, and the market is pricing it like a bargain. But comfort isn't what makes people quit electric cars. Something else does. And the next car on this list got there first. Number 5. Tesla Model Y, 2020 to present. The thing that makes people quit electric cars isn't the car. It's the charger. Broken screens, declined payments, 4 different apps. A stall that claims it's working and isn't. This is the car that made that problem disappear years before anyone else even admitted it existed. There's still one reason I'd hesitate before putting an older driver in one, and it has nothing to do with money. I'll come to it. You pull up to a supercharger, you plug in, it charges. No app, no card, no account screen, no phone call. The navigation routes you to chargers automatically, tells you how long to stop, and preheats the battery on the way so the charge arrives at full speed. For anyone who doesn't want a new technical hobby in retirement, that's worth a lot. The car underneath suits the job too. The seat is high and the hip point sits close to standing height, so getting in is a slide rather than a climb. Forward visibility is outstanding. Short hood, thin pillars, huge windshield. The trunk is enormous with a low flat floor. And mechanically it's about as simple as a car gets. No oil changes, no belts, no transmission service. Battery and drive unit coverage runs 8 years and up to 120,000 miles, with a guaranteed 70% capacity remaining at the end of it. Now the reservation. Almost everything lives on the central touchscreen, and there's no instrument cluster in front of you. Wipers, mirrors, even some drive functions are screen or steering wheel operations. And the refreshed cars moved more controls off the stalks again. Some drivers adapt inside a week. Others never stop finding it irritating. Sit in one and try changing the temperature and the wiper speed while parked. You'll know quickly which one you are. That's the trade. Tesla removes almost all the friction from owning an EV and asks you to do things its way in return. The next one asks nothing of you at all. It doesn't beat the Tesla on warranty, it beats it on the thing that stops you ever needing one. Number 4. Volvo EX40, 2021 to present. The safety feature that matters most as you get older isn't the one that protects you in a crash. It's the small light in your door mirror. Shoulder checks get less comfortable as neck mobility reduces. Blind spot monitoring doesn't replace looking. It catches what a shoulder check misses. Here it's standard, along with rear cross traffic alert, lane keeping aid, and automatic emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. Not on the top trim, standard. That's what happens when a company builds the car around one target: zero serious injuries or deaths, instead of selling safety as a $5,000 option package. And it isn't just Volvo saying so. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety rates this platform good in every crashworthiness category it tests: front, side, roof strength, head restraints. Good headlights, which is rarer than it should be. Superior front crash prevention. And when the Institute toughened its moderate overlap test to look harder at rear seat protection, this was the only small SUV to come through with a good rating in every single category. Those ratings cover the 2021 through 2024 cars. One thing to know before you go shopping: this car was called the XC40 Recharge until Volvo renamed it the EX40, globally in 2024 and in the US from the 2025 model year. Same car, two names, both still on listings. The driving position is excellent, upright and high, with a short hood you can see the end of, which takes most of the stress out of parking. The car is compact outside and roomy inside, and the doors are tall rather than long, so they open fully in a normal parking space. Battery warranty is 8 years or 100,000 miles. An EPA range runs from 260 miles on the dual motor car, up to 296 miles on the single motor version. If you're still with me this far in, you clearly take this seriously. A quick like and subscribe genuinely helps the channel out. The compromise is the infotainment. Volvo moved to a Google-based system on a large portrait screen, and more functions live in there than I'd like. The voice control is genuinely good, but you will be touching glass for some things, which is the second time that's come up in 2 cars, and it's exactly why the next car earns its place, because it never moved the controls behind glass in the first place. Number 3. Kia Niro EV, 2019 to 2026. No EV sold in America has a more senior-friendly interior, and the reason is almost comically simple. Kia kept the buttons, a real climate panel with real dials, a volume knob, controls you can find by feel while your eyes stay on the road, that click when they register. Spend one winter jabbing at a temperature slider on a touchscreen while wearing gloves, and you'll understand exactly why that matters. The rest of the car is just as sensible. The Niro EV is shaped like a tall hatchback rather than a low crossover, which puts the seat at exactly the height where you neither climb up nor drop down. The door openings are tall and square. The rear hatch opens onto a low, flat load floor, so groceries slide in instead of being lifted over a lip. Rear seat access is genuinely easy, which matters if you're the one collecting grandchildren from school. Range is 253 miles, and it's one of the most efficient EVs on sale, so it costs very little to run. Charge overnight at home, and you leave every morning with a full battery. Then there's the coverage, and this is where Kia pulls ahead of everything above it. 10 years or 100,000 miles on the battery. with 5 years or 60,000 bumper to bumper. Terms do vary between the battery cover and the powertrain cover, and between original and later owners, so check the exact position by VIN before you buy. That single detail can change what a used listing is worth by thousands. 2 drawbacks, and I'll be straight about the bigger one. This is the most expensive car on the list for what you get. It starts north of $41,000, while the Hyundai coming up at number 2 starts around $36,600 and goes considerably further on a charge. On paper, that's indefensible. What closes the gap is the discounting. Kia has been running $10,000 customer cash and 0% finance across its EV range, which can pull the real price into the low 30,000s. At that number, the interior alone justifies it. At full sticker, it doesn't. The smaller drawback is fast charging, which tops out around 85 kilowatts, so long-distance stops run longer than they should. Locally, irrelevant. And Kia has ended production, with 2026 the final model year. So this is about buying the last of them rather than waiting. So the Niro nails the controls. But there's one car that nails the most physical part of this whole question, the actual act of getting in. Better than anything else I've been in, electric or otherwise. Number 2, Hyundai Ioniq 5, 2022 to present. This is the easiest car to get into that I've tested. Not the easiest electric car, the easiest car. 3 reasons, all structural rather than cosmetic. First, it sits on a dedicated EV platform with a completely flat floor, no transmission tunnel, and almost no sill to step over. You swing your leg onto a flat surface at seat height instead of lifting it over a raised lip. Second, the wheelbase is enormous, longer than some full-size SUVs. All of that length goes into door openings that are tall, wide, and close to square. Third, the hip point is high, so the seat cushion meets you at roughly kitchen chair height. Put those together and the car stops being an obstacle. Nobody bends, nobody drops, nobody hauls themselves up by the grab handle. Inside, Hyundai kept physical buttons for climate and volume. The driver's seat is power adjustable with a leg rest on higher trims, and the center console slides back and forward so you can clear a path across the cabin. The current cars carry a larger battery with up to 318 miles of range, and the 800-volt architecture delivers a 10 to 80% fast charge in under 20 minutes on a proper 350-kilowatt charger. Comfortably the quickest here, though closer to 25 minutes on a supercharger. US-built cars now have a native NACS port, so superchargers work without an adapter. Battery warranty is 10 years or 100,000 miles, and the same advice applies as with the Kia. Confirm the exact terms by VIN. There's one more feature worth knowing about, because it matters more to this audience than most. The Ioniq 5 can push power back out. Plug an adapter into the charge port or use the outlet under the rear seats on higher trims, and you get a regular household socket delivering around 1.9 kilowatts. That's a fridge, a couple of lamps, a space heater, or medical equipment through an overnight power cut from a car sitting on your driveway. If you live somewhere the power goes out, that's not a gimmick. The one real weakness is rearward visibility. The rear pillars are thick and the back window is small and steeply raked. Hyundai added a rear wiper in the 2025 update, but I'd treat a 360-degree camera and rear cross-traffic alert as non-negotiable on this car rather than a nice extra. So that's the best access, the fastest charging, and 10 years of coverage. Which leaves one question: what could possibly beat it? Not the warranty, something that only matters once the warranty has run out. Number 1, Toyota BZ4X/BZ, 2023 to present. Number 1 is the car the internet spent 3 years telling people to avoid. I'm putting it first anyway, and the reason has nothing to do with how it drives. The early cars landed to mediocre reviews. Modest range, slow fast charging, a name nobody could say out loud. On those cars, the reviewers were mostly right, but look at what they were measuring. 0 to 60, charging curves, road trip times. None of it is what this buyer needs. Here's what does matter. Toyota has spent 30 years building the most boringly dependable vehicles on the road, and this car inherits that engineering culture directly. Nothing else on this list arrives with that track record attached. Then there's the dealer network. Toyota has more than 1,000 dealers across the US, so service stays close to home almost anywhere in the country, including small towns where the nearest specialist EV center might be 2 hours away. That matters more than it sounds. A warranty is only as useful as your ability to reach someone who will honor it. The car itself does the fundamentals properly. High, comfortable seating with an easy step-in, wide doors, a conventional uncluttered dashboard with physical climate controls, Toyota Safety Sense as standard, automatic emergency braking, lane tracing, adaptive cruise, traffic sign recognition. And Toyota went back and fixed the complaints. The updated car, now badged simply Toyota BZ, gets more power, a bigger battery worth up to 314 miles of range. Battery preconditioning so fast charging actually works in the cold, and a native NACS port for supercharger access. Range is up roughly 25%. One honest note on paper, the battery warranty is 8 years or 100,000 miles, which is shorter than the Hyundai and the Kia, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. It's simply that Toyota is the one brand here I'd back to outlast its own warranty. So my advice, buy the updated car if the budget stretches. If it doesn't, an early one bought used at a heavy discount is still an excellent car for someone charging at home and driving locally. And here's the part that settles it. Every other car on this list asks you to bet on how well a young EV division ages. This one asks you to bet on Toyota. For a car you intend to buy once and keep, that's the safest bet on the board. Run back through those 7 and the pattern is obvious. Not one of them won on acceleration, screen size, or badge prestige. They won on how long the coverage lasts, how easily the door opens, whether you can find the temperature dial without looking, and how close the nearest dealer is when something needs attention. That's what buying once actually means. Not the most impressive car, the one that asked the least of you for the longest time. Whether you're making this decision for yourself or helping a parent through it, check 2 things before anything else. The exact warranty terms on that specific car, because original owner versus second owner changes everything, and whether you can charge at home. On that second one, for most houses, having a proper charger fitted runs somewhere between $500 and $1,500, and a simple 240-volt outlet sits at the lower end of that. It's the question people put off longest, and it's usually the easiest one to answer. Get those 2 right, and most of the worry about electric cars disappears. Both of those checks are covered in full in the Used EV Buyer's Guide, along with battery health testing and the complete inspection checklist. If you're buying new instead, the new EV Buyer's Guide covers that side of it. And if you're still weighing used against new, the bundle gets you both and saves you 25%. All 3 are linked in the description. If this was useful, a like and a subscribe helps more people find it. And tell me in the comments which one you'd pick, or if you've already made the switch, how it actually went. That's the experience people watching this genuinely need to hear. See you in the next one.